Hello, and welcome to He Say, She Say Family Coach Live. I am Shar Salasi and have been practicing family law for more than 13 years now. My jam is meeting people in a tough spot, right? I describe my work as jumping in the middle of food fights, bringing some clarity to both sides. Because at the end of the day, people love each other, but what happens is that we hurt each other in that space. So the biggest thing that I want anyone who finds this channel, who supports this channel, who's sharing this channel to understand is that there is a gender war going on. And that gender war is seeking to tear apart the men and women of our beautiful community. And I'm speaking about the African American community specifically because this is my community. This is who my parents were. This is who my children are. And so I am pouring heart and soul into our community because we are being torn apart by the powers that be. And so the gender wars stop here at Law for Love. So if you're joining us tonight, hey, welcome in, Brother Fast Nickel. I appreciate you as always. Sister LaShonda, hugs and kisses. Sister Princess, thank you so much for joining us. I have a special treat for everyone here. So let me preface it this way. A week ago, I received a phone call from Shalom, peace and blessings, Sister Coco G. I received a phone call from a former client last week who she caught me out of left field and she said, "Will you marry us?" And I'm like, "Wait, you want me to do your wedding?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes, this is Law for Love, y'all. We're not just here helping people get away from someone who they used to love and now they hate. Like, we're a part of the marriage story too. And so it's just like, it was such a blessing to get this call from my former client. So there are a couple of things that I had to do under Georgia law. And with respect to the timing, I invited my life coach who is already ordained to do weddings here in Georgia. And we tag teamed on my client today to host her wedding in our office. So because the title of our show is He Say, She Say, because we did a wedding today, Law for Love's first wedding, and I know that there are more to come because, like, right after that wedding, I got ganged up on by two other women. One who jumped on the phone and told her fiance, "I think I found a wedding officiant for us." So it looks like Law for Love is going to be doing some premarital counseling, and we're going to be we're going to be officiating some weddings. But I'm just like, I'm so honored, y'all. I'm like overwhelmed by the opportunity. I'm overwhelmed by the experience. Let me show y'all just a little bit. I had a little wedding went down in my office this morning. Let me see how we get there. Because this is a little piece of what she had to say in her vows and what he had to say in his vows. And then we're going to talk about tonight's topic. How do I get... Y'all know I'm going to have to learn this. All right.
I remember back in 2018, what was supposed to be a 15-minute phone conversation turned into a whole 3 hours. And here we are there getting ready to be together for the rest of our lives. Through all the ups and downs, through devastations, the celebrations, you've been here for me. And I love you so much for that. You've always been my cheerleader, comedian, motivator, lover, and friend. And as your wife, I vow to do the same. Thank you so much for being the missing piece to my puzzle, the deep in my heart. I'll always love you now. Amen.
Aww.
On this faithful day, I pledge my love to thee. You will forever be my heart, like otters and the wells in the sea. As I quote a line from my favorite cartoon, it'll take a million poets a million years yet they could only describe nothing but yet a third of your beauty. I like you from the phone conversation and fell in love with you the moment we met. Who knew we would make it this long? 6 years strong, more on than off. Knowing our silliness and our boundaries, our love will always prevail. The past 2 years have been rough. We made it out like monsters. Nothing can stop us. We'll get it. We'll get it, and we'll be tougher and tougher. I love you to infinity and beyond.
Yes.
Okay, then.
So, I mean, who doesn't love a wedding, right? Like, hold on. I don't know what I'm doing. Wait. Did I stop sharing my screen? Did I stop sharing? Did I stop sharing the screen? I don't know. So, at any rate, um, what's this? Why do I have two situations? What is this? Why do I have two? Oh, okay. So, who doesn't love a wedding, y'all? It was just like, oh my gosh. Like again, we always kind of like get real, like excited because that's what we were created for. We were created for family, for community. We were created to be a tribe and to support each other. And y'all, there's so much going on in our culture where we don't even live in the same block anymore. You got to only see your people during special occasions or funerals. And so we've grown more and more apart as a community. We've grown more and more apart as a tribe. And we still kind of have that joy and that excitement when we see people get married. And again, I believe it's because of how we were built and what the Most High intended for our community, our tribe, our people, our nation. And so, that was the big deal today with just like taking one of the conference rooms and just restaging it to be like a little makeshift chapel. But I told the couple before they got married, before they made the choice to get married, I said, listen, don't jump into this unless you're ready to die out of it. Because that's how serious marriage is. And a lot of people come into marriage with that level of commitment and that level of seriousness. But one of the issues that we see a lot is complacency. And so I want to talk about complacency tonight. I want to invite y'all to kind of, like share your input, especially if you're going to call yourself out. Like I don't want to ask anybody to put someone else on blast necessarily, but I think the conversation about complacency is a self-reflecting conversation. Looking at someone getting married is a great reminder of like where we were. What were we willing to do for each other before we went ahead and bound our lives to one another? And how does complacency set in? A lot of people might come across Law for Love ATL and say, okay, so why is a lawyer giving relationship advice? I'm not giving you relationship advice. I'm putting you on game. I'm showing you the red flags of what comes into a divorce lawyer's office, the patterns that we see, so that you in your relationship can see the red flags, you can see the warning signs, and you can make a choice to do something about it. I don't have the answers. Look, Sister Shar is not over here skipping through a field of flowers, holding hands and smiling. That's not how my situation is set up. But I'm able to see patterns. I'm able to see the grass ain't always greener on the other side. I'm able to see how people are struggling, and I get to ask myself some questions so I could do like a little, like self-reflecting, some introspective. How can I do better? Where am I falling off? And so to illustrate that, I'm actually going to jump into the scripts real quick to demonstrate what I'm saying. Starting with this one came up to me. Those of you who know me, I read the Proverbs every day, right? And today being the first of the month, it's the first of the month. We hit that first chapter of Proverbs, and look at what jumped out at me today. For the turning away of the simple will get them killed, will slay them. And The complacency of fools will destroy them. This right here, y'all, is why I was like already kind of like in that meditation is around complacency today, was because I read it during my quiet time this morning. Complacency of fools. So it's a couple of ways we can look at that, right? Everybody wants to get comfortable in a spot, like I myself included. I'll be the first one to admit that, I'm carrying about an extra 100 pounds than the day that I got married. I mean, like, real talk. People say all the time, "Oh, well, you don't." I'm like, nah, yeah. Complacency. According to the law, Proverbs, that is a foolish thing to become complacent. It is a foolish thing to expect that you just getting into your comfort spot and just doing nothing, or being just comfortable with not working at it. That is foolish. And it really hit me today. It was like, wow, the first chapter of Proverbs is explaining to us the reason why we need Proverbs, so that we can understand wisdom, so that we can live according to wisdom. And it calls out complacency, because we all kind of get to a spot where we feel like, okay, I'm good. I mean, like, we work hard, right? Who wants to be working all the time? We just want to, after you work all day, especially if you are working in a high stress situation, if you're working long hours, or if you're working in a job that you hate, the last thing you want to do when you get home is to have to work. The last thing you want to have to do is housework. The last thing you want to have to do is cook. The last thing you want to have to do is dishes and all the other stuff that maintains your home. And when we step out of the necessity of doing the work, even when we're tired, even when we don't want to, that's where complacency sets in. And, it was hitting kind of different today when I read this and see that this is called foolishness. It's called foolishness. And it says that destruction comes. So the thing that I become complacent in is the thing that becomes destroyed. The thing that I no longer work at is the thing that I will no longer have. There's another Proverbs that talks about this lazy man. And the writer of the proverb was saying, I looked at the lazy man house. He said, I looked at the lazy man house. I don't know where it is, y'all. If somebody can help me, because I didn't pull that one up for tonight. But he had cracks in the sidewalk. He had weeds growing all up on the side of the house. He had, bricks falling up all off the house. And his house was falling apart because he was too lazy to continue the work that was necessary to maintain his house. All right, I see a big comment. What's this? I know I could sometimes become complacent, but I also know that pattern of myself. And I have told, I told my boo to nudge me if she finds me getting complacent in the areas that I know I should not be. I love this. I love this, because what you're doing right here, Brother Fast Nickel, you said to your honey, look, I'm not even gonna play games with this. Let's come up with a contingency plan. Y'all, the best time to plan is when we're having a good day. Hey, when we're having a good day, when we're not mad at each other, when we're sitting up here smiling and giggling over the milkshakes, let's go ahead and have a conversation about how we're going to deal with the rough patches. I love that you invited her to tell you, hey, bruh, you ain't putting in that work like you used to. I'm starting to see you fall into that pattern of complacency. But the thing about that, Fast Nickel, is that all of us are susceptible to it. Like, all of us. Even when I consider certain seasons of my life where I'm like going hard in the scriptures, like I'm going hard, and then when I feel like I'm kind of full on that meat, Then I turn around and I like ease up off of the gas. I'm not going so hard anymore. It's kind of like that hunger or that pain is what drives me to go hard, right? But when things start getting good, right? Things always start getting good when you're doing the work. When you're doing what you're supposed to do, conditions improve in your life that you don't let up off the gas. Then maybe you could put it, you could come down a notch, but you still got to continue to apply that effort. And so that's when I want to share this next proverb with you, that this one is the one that hit me. It had to be last week because it's the 27th. So this was on the 27th of March. I read this one, y'all. Now, this is Proverb 27:18 that reads, whoever keeps the fig tree will eat its fruit. So he who waits on his master will be honored. Now, I had to take a closer look at this one because it jumped off the page when I read that on the 27th. And keep the fig tree. So if I may, y'all, because I never ate a fresh fig, and I don't know what a fig tree looked like. I know our people, we're represented by the fig tree in the scriptures. But if I may take a little poetic license here, because I'm from Miami, can we talk about a mango tree? Can I talk about mangoes? See, I like mangoes. My grandma had a mango tree in her backyard back in Carroll City back in the 80s. Every summertime we were just like overflowing with that red golden deliciousness. Like you bite into it, like the juice be running down your arm, like mango. So if I may talk about a mango tree, that scripture is saying this: you take that seed and you nurture that seed. You water that seed. You make sure that seed is in good soil. You make sure that seed is getting proper sunlight. And you look after that seed season after season after season. You do the work. And in due season, you are going to benefit from the fruit of that tree. And so the issue that happens with a lot of families that are in crisis, a lot of families that are on the brink of divorce or going through divorce, everybody want the fruit, but nobody want to do the work. We just want to show up and the fruit already has been picked and diced up and served on the platter. We don't want to put in the work. And I'm reminded of, and I'm sorry, y'all, I have to tell y'all how horrible of a human being I am. I decided one year early in my practice that I wanted to have a living plant in my office. I've never really been able to keep plants alive before then, but I decided I was going to get a plant. I went to Home Depot and I found a plant that I knew would be low maintenance because I knew I had a bad history with keeping plants alive. So I bought this plant. Some people call it the mother-in-law snake tongue or something like that. But the bottom line is that I learned that this particular plant was a cactus. So it's a plant. It looked like a plant, but it's from the cactus family. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't have to water it. It's a cactus. So for like a year and a half, I posted that cactus up in the corner of my office so I could have that nice little pop of green when I walk in and make me feel good about the day. And for a year and a half, I did not water that cactus. And it was one day, one of my coworkers walked past my office and my dying plant caught her attention. I still didn't realize it was dying, y'all. And look, if the leaves were still green, it was good, right? No, the cactus was dying. My coworker asked me, she said, can I take this home for the weekend? And I was like, sure. When's the last time you gave it water? I've never watered it. It's a cactus. Y'all, I just thank the Most High for my coworker that she came and saved that cactus. Now, shout out to her. That cactus is still alive. That cactus is still alive today. Uh yes, you have to nurture your plant. And what I learned is that just because it was low maintenance didn't mean that there was nothing required of me. I was looking for something that I ain't had to do much work with. And a lot of times we do that in our relationships. We want somebody who low maintenance, somebody who easy to please. Why? So we don't really have to do much. But then you around here killing cactuses. Even cactuses die from lack of water, lack of sunlight, lack of love. I want to say that cactus, now I have that cactus still here. And it reminds me, cactuses need love too. It reminds me, you always got to put in some love. That cactus has now been around. I bought that cactus back in 2013. So that cactus is now what? At least 10 years old, almost 11 years old. Because someone had to teach me and show me how to love a cactus. So the question becomes, how am I tending to the fig tree that I want the fruit from? How am I, even if my wife, my husband is low maintenance, how am I putting in some work to keep this situation healthy and thriving? Where am I showing up and being diligent with the work that's required of me? Because I want to eat mangoes. It's all right. I struggle with. You know what? I appreciate that. Because, see, I feel like a horrible human being that I killed a cactus. So, I have to blow up the comments so I can see them because it's rough on me to see them in the corner. But we all got to ask that question. And it's not just in marriage. We are talking about marriage tonight because, look, we had a wedding today. And my warning and my admonition and my counsel to my beautiful client and her new husband is this: don't stop doing the work. There's little things that you used to do that you knew went a long way. But then what starts happening? We get busy, or the kids start demanding a whole lot of attention, or a crisis hits the family, or some kind of storm blows in and disorients us. But that doesn't mean that other person still doesn't need some kind of care or attention. And when we stop doing the work and we show up demanding fruit from a tree that we're not taking care of, it's very, very hurtful to the other person. And one of the more tangible areas of this, I'm going to speak to husbands first, and then I'm going to speak to wives. And these are just my observations. But keep in mind, people come to me when they're hurting and that thing broken and they're ready to give up. So I'm just telling you what I see, okay? I see a lot of husbands who are only carving out time for their wives when it's time for the bedroom. They are not carving out time to talk to her. They are not carving out time to ask her about her dreams and her goals. They don't even take the time to ask her, how was your day today? They are investing most of their time online with sports or doing something else that they rather be doing. And they only think of their wives when it is time for bedroom action. And that is complacency. Because most of you brothers who have fallen into that, You probably didn't treat her like that before she married you. You probably called her or sent her text messages. How many of y'all, before you got married, when you were in dating, y'all sent those texts every morning? Good morning. Like you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait to get up and see your little good morning text. But then once you commit and you already, oh, she ain't going nowhere. Now you don't have to invest that time anymore in considering her thoughts and her feelings and making time. And I know, brothers, I know the way we talk as women, a lot of times you get lost in that because we be all over the place. But that's who we are. You gotta take your L for the team. Like we don't think like men, and we don't process like men, and we don't communicate like men do. And when you love your wife, you invest that effort into looking at her and listening to what she's saying and not turning her into Charlie Brown's teacher. Want. That's just a little bit of work that goes a long way with the wives. For the wives, I'm just going to go ahead and put this on out here. There used to be a time with most wives, at least what I observed coming into my office, where she used to say things to encourage him. She used to tell him how wonderful he is. She used to, I mean, you couldn't tell her no wrong about him. But then once he began to make mistakes, once he began to hurt her with his forgetfulness or maybe tuning her out because she sounded like want, she began to turn those words into constant criticism. Criticism. Never encouragement, never praise. Nothing good to say about the brother anymore. That too is an area of complacency that I witness, I observe in the work that I do. Let me see, what's this? After a while, you learn how to speak woman. Right. There are different dialects, but all those words mean things. You're right. And I'm laughing too because look, I understand that, the male brain is a little more focused on one thing, but the way we set up as women, we see how everything is related and connected, and what happened today was related to what happened 5 years ago. Like that, the separation just doesn't exist in our mind. It doesn't. So true. Need to remind my husband that I still enjoy being wined and dined. When I kept bringing it up that I wanted to see a movie or go out. Yes, like we like having a reason to get cute, ladies. And then, like it doesn't help that the internet is a porn fest, right? I mean, like you don't even have to go to a porn site. Just open up Instagram or Facebook. I mean, it's nakedness everywhere. And so it's like, you sitting around here as a man and you looking at your wife like, why you not stunting like this? But you always feeding your mind and your eyes constant nakedness. You're putting a lot of pressure on the sister. I'm not saying that we can't QT up and doll up. It's a lot of wives who like to have a reason to doll up and get cute and be sported by her man. Like you want to go out with your man and your man wrap his arm around your waist to let everybody know that she mine. But you used to do that. But now that she ain't going nowhere, she ain't going nowhere. And what does complacency breed? It's kind of like, well, why should I do anything? Complacency breeds apathy. And so now you're looking at something that's destroying your intimacy. Because, there was a time where I used to see your number come up on my caller ID. I was so excited. to get your call, and it's like, nah, I see your number. I roll my eyes. You ain't going nowhere, and I'm not going nowhere, and I don't want to talk to you. And I guess the question for each and every one of us, the question I ask myself, how do we get here? And what do I have to do? What part can I play to make things better? I mean, you're never going to go back to those days pre-honeymoon. You're not. But you can always be, dating each other. You can always find cute little ways to flirt with each other. You can roll up on your wife and ask her for her phone number, like you don't know who she is. You can always play little games and flirt with your man. Because how many, doesn't everybody want to feel wanted and appreciated, seen, admired, and desired? But that doesn't happen on autopilot. That doesn't happen just because you put a ring on it. That's not going to happen if nobody putting in any work. The one who keeps the fig tree is the one that get the fruit. And please don't come over here trying to pluck mangoes when you haven't been putting in the work. You want golden, red, delicious mangoes, but your neglect has created green, the hard green ones that ain't good for nothing but a mango salad. That's what we call it back in Miami, the mango salad, where you take the little, you take, you take the little green mangoes and you drop it with some vinegar, some salt and pepper. That's all them green mangoes good for. Vinegar. So, what's this? In business, you put KPIs in place to make sure you're hitting your goals. A relationship is no different. Man, I'm about to ask you to call in, Fast Nickel, because it looks like you got a lot to say about this. And I'm loving that you gave your sweetheart permission to call you out if you start falling into the complacency zone. What's this? If you want good fruit, you need to nurture that tree. Hello? Hello. Like we want to sit around here and demand, but don't nobody want to do that work. And like I tell my crew around here, every posse must work. Like, I'll give myself no excuse not to be putting in that work. Every posse must work. But yeah, I like the idea of business because we work harder for money and the things money can buy than we work for investment of time and consideration and attention and nurturing and care in the lives of the people around us. How we do that? How do we do that? How have we allowed the pursuit of money to rob us of the strength, the energy, the care, the desire to take care of our mango trees, y'all? So, that's what I wanted to kind of like deposit in terms of he say, she say. You got to see him tell her how she was the most beautiful thing that he ever could imagine. And how she let him know, you have been my cheerleader, my lover, and my friend. And as your wife, I would do the same thing. Let their vows remind us about those times where we look forward to loving and giving. And whatever that is that has come in the way, disappointments, disagreements, slights, a lot of times, we'll talk about this, the petty bag, sometimes we dig in our petty bag to play get back. Those things rob us of that joy that came from, that first love. remembering what it was like when I would be on the phone with you all night. And I didn't want to get off the phone. I remember when teenage years, like you hang up first. No, you hang up. That was before cell phones. Go ahead and hang up the phone. But sometimes we just need a good reminder of how to go back into that place, because when we've been hurt in marriage, because nothing hurts more than the person that's closest to you. Nobody can hurt you more than that person because they're so close to you. How could you do that to me? We fall into a rut of unforgiveness, and a lot of us choose complacency because of bitterness of soul. And if you fallen into that pattern, if you could have an honest conversation with yourself and say, you know what, that's me. I don't want to say nothing nice to him. He ain't did nothing nice for me. And every time I've ever tried, he never noticed. Or anything good I had to say to him, all he had was something critical to say to me. I ain't feeling it. I don't want to do the work. I'm here to tell you, look, no judgment, not from me. But if you are willing to be motivated by the love that comes from the Most High, rather than your fear of being hurt, then that is my challenge to you. That is the way I challenge myself every day. How can I be motivated by love today rather than fear of being hurt? How can I be motivated that for y'all I will live and for y'all I will die? And so if that means that I got to show up in love, I will, no matter what, even though I might risk being hurt. Because I don't want to be a fool to stop loving because I am scared. Hold on. There we go. Thank you for calling in, Brother Fastnickel.
I figured I'd call.
I appreciate it. You're breaking up a little bit. I'm going to try to see if it's me. Hold on. Let me turn my Wi-Fi on my phone.
Okay.
I think I got you now. Can everybody hear Brother Fastnickel okay?
Hey.
Can you give me a 1 if you can hear Brother Fastnickel?
Can everyone hear me?
I'm waiting for the comments. Yep, they can hear you. All right, Brother Fastnickel, we got you on the line. Thank you for calling. He say, she say live. What's on your heart?
So here's a big problem that generally happens. The problem is that a man and a woman, they get together, they go out on a date or two, and then they sleep together. And that is what 99% of the people do, but that's like enemy number one. Like once you do that, you basically killed it. You really need to spend the time. You really need to spend the time to get to know that person, even if it means you have to walk away from that person. But the truth is, unless you do that, how are you really going to know if that person is for you or not?
That is a really good point. It's funny that you say that because just today I ended up in an impromptu group therapy session with 2 young women. We're talking late 20s, early 30s, who are both cohabitating with their man and are like trying to wrestle with how to make the relationship better. And my input was, I don't really give relationship advice to unmarried folk because right now you're in a position where what is he looking forward to? Like what is he having to put the work in for? Like how do you think you about to motivate him? He already good. You there, y'all locked in. What? And so we had that conversation because anybody who works with me know, Brother Fastnickel, don't come to me telling me how to fix the other person. We need to look at what you're doing and why are you afraid to walk away from this or to require more from this?
Correct. And when I was married, although everybody looked at my ex as not being for me, I still have to say, even if she's 99% of the problem, I have to at least take 1% on myself. Because if you say that the problem is all the other person, you're lying to yourself.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. And so, I want you to unpack these KPIs, Brother Fast Nickel, about, it sounds like you saying complacency or not being complacent is a key performance indicator for our relationship to work well. So you want to share a little bit more about like what your action plan is to protect your relationship against complacency?
In my case, I'm not in my 20s where we're looking to have a family. But, if you are working and you're as a man, you're doing your thing, it's very easy to neglect your woman. And a guy a lot of times thinks as long as I'm making the money and she's able to buy what she needs, she's going to be happy. And to some extent, that's true, but that's not the full picture, because at that point, that relationship is kind of melting, and you don't even realize it's melting, because a guy is thinking, as long as I'm just going out there working and bringing home the money, that's all that's necessary. But that's not what's all that's necessary.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, especially now, Brother Fast Nickel, like, you being real modest about not being in your 20s anymore. But, let's talk for real about the generation we're in now and the financial position of women now compared to our grandmother's generation. Like, we don't need our man to be gone for the sake of bringing money in. We're able to bring money to the table as well. And so, what do you think about that?
Okay, so I'm gonna put Coco on the spot here, because I'm good at that.
Now I don't know if you saw it, she just gave you some pom-poms out here on the live, so oh no.
When I started talking to her, as you know, I wasn't working. Now, I'm somebody who in the past was used to making six figures, but when I started to talk to her, I was not that guy. But with her, she's smart enough, she's intelligent enough to see past that, to know that inside that there's a lot of potential, there's a lot of value, monetarily, spiritually, everything. So just because a person is in a situation today, that's not where she saw me in my future. So she put that aside, because what was important to her is how we meld from a spiritual point of view, which is most important, and from a communication, and just what are our values and our goals. Like those things are more important than the money, because the money comes and goes. And if you focus everything on the money, that relationship will crumble pretty fast.
Absolutely. And now, to your point about money and the pursuit of money, it's like now even women have to like make sure that we're not becoming complacent in our relationships because we're chasing the bag. It's kind of like the same pressure on us, those of us who are out here doing our thing.
Well, unfortunately, most divorces, I'm going to say a good 75% or more break up over finances. And if that's the case, then to me, that relationship was never on solid ground from the get-go.
It was never on solid ground for the get-go. From what way?
Because if finances break you apart, then you didn't have a great foundation from the get-go.
So
in that sense, if something happens and the woman can't work, if she's working, or the man can't work, or whatever the case may be, both people understand that it's a partnership. It's a team. It's not you or me. It's us. And it goes back to what you're saying about the whole community aspect.
absolutely. And so you just reminded me of something that I've been thinking a lot about for the past couple of weeks, and it's this: friendship and dreaming together. So to your point about not just going on 2 dates and hopping in the sack, but taking the time to get to know each other, that's the friendship development part of it. And I see that when people are friends, marriages between friends, I rarely see in divorce situations where they were friends before they married. And the other thing that I've been noticing as a pattern is when one or both have stopped dreaming and they do not share dreams together. And I think that, in light of complacency, people have even become complacent with their own dreams. They don't even want to dream anymore. How do you show up in a relationship with someone else when you don't even have the relationship with yourself to continue to dream and to continue to pursue your dreams? What do you think about that?
Hey, my motto is when you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. So if you don't continue to dream, you're going to rot.
Y'all heard that straight from Brother Fast Nickel. I appreciate that. Hey, Brother Fast Nickel, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap up, but do you want to leave any final words about complacency?
The only thing I will tell you is in 2017, I took the time to try to get to understand the female psyche. Because I said to myself, one day I'm eventually get back married again. And when I do, I want to at least come at it from a standpoint as a man that I understand a woman. So as an example, for most of us men, when we talk amongst our buddies, we'll complain that, oh man, our girl, she talks too much. But what men don't understand is when women are constantly talking, it's because they love you and they want to see you do well. It's when a woman stops talking is that you got the problem. But if a man doesn't understand that about a woman, then things happen. And it goes for a woman too, understanding a man too, because a man is built to build and to fix things, whereas women are more emotional. So just like a man needs to get to understand how a woman works, how their psyche works, same goes for a woman. But when you're talking about someone who's in their 20s, they don't necessarily know this. So that's where a nurturing parent or an older person can help to guide that man or guide that woman to have them understand the patterns of a man and woman. I mean, I guess also, yeah, a man and woman, they can grow together, which is good too. But sometimes you need that person that you can go to as that mentor to help you to understand the pitfalls of a relationship / marriage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, I appreciate that, Brother Fast Nickel. And my life coach who performed the ceremony today in our office, she began that ceremony by saying, my husband and I have been married for 44 years. And when I tell you that it's worth it, it's worth the bumps, the bruises, the pain and the suffering, it absolutely is. And so, she's one of those milestones, in the community that people look to and look up to, and like, you know what? If they could put in 44 years, certainly I can figure out a way to figure this out and keep going, even when the times get hard in our relationship. But thank you for hopping on, for calling, because I love to hear, listen with my ears. This chat thing that is the live community. It is very, very challenging for us, sister. So thank you for taking the time to call. I appreciate it, bro.
You're very welcome.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
So there you have it, family. You got Brother Fast Nickel telling you, look, I took a whole season to learn how to understand women. Brother Red said earlier in the comments, he learned how to speak woman. Matter of fact, Brother Red called me out the other day because I was going about trying to ask him for something. He was like, oh, so what you really saying? he called me out on being a woman because he has set his heart to learning and understanding how we think and how we speak, how we communicate, how we go about getting the things that we need from the men in our lives. And he called me out and had all of us laughing. But we all need to commit to learning about each other. Women, understanding the heart of our men, understanding that they want to be desired too. Many men do complain that their women don't initiate sex. It bothers them. They don't want to seem like they're the only one asking. And, men continue to learn about us, even though, sometimes we break your brain. Sometimes we're not that logical, or we're not making sense, or we can't stay on topic. But somehow the Most High put us together to figure this out, to make an impossible situation possible when we put him and his love in the middle of it. And so I hope that, everyone here is blessed and encouraged to put in the work into the relationships that mean the most to you. And even if it's not your marriage right now, don't become complacent when it comes to your kids. Taking for granted that, oh, they know I love them, or taking for granted that just going to work and buying things and throwing things at them is going to make them feel loved or valued. To the point that Brother Fast Nickel was saying, like, just having money and things to buy that ain't it either. Or don't take for granted with your parents, those of you who are still blessed to have parents alive, that your parents know how much you love and appreciate them. If you have the opportunity to call them, especially our elders, a lot of times they feel guilty about calling the younger people because they're like, oh, I know you're busy. I know you're working. But not taking them for granted. Our folks that are retired and who would love to have some company, to reach out and take them out for coffee or go by and visit. Like, we used to actually visit people's house. Like, that's not even a thing anymore. Nobody goes to nobody's house no more. And as a tribe and as a community, as a nation, yes, we have gotten complacent with a lot of things, with a lot of areas. In our marriages, in our parent-child relationships, in our relationships with our elders, because we take for granted, or we're too tired or exhausted to do the work so that we can continue to pluck golden, juicy mangoes from the work that we're putting in, that effort on a daily basis, that diligence that pays us and rewards us in the end for our effort. And so I leave those words with you. Hey, if this blessed you in any way, please like, share, and subscribe. Brother Fast Nickel, the marketing guy. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for joining us. Keeping in mind that here at Law for Love, this is where the gender wars stop. I love you, brothers, coming in and saying, hey, I'm trying to understand women. Not to manipulate you, not to play you, not to get over on you, but because I want to figure out how to walk with you. And so, ladies, I know the heart of the women in our community is the same. We want to understand our men. We want to help y'all We want to help understand y'all so that we know where we fit to support you and to help you get where you want to go. We want to help you reach your dreams. And so together we do that here at Law for Love at He Say, She Say Family Coach Live. Hey, I love each and every one of you, and I look forward to continuing this conversation next Monday.